Alrighty, good morning, good evening, good day, and good night. Hope you're all doing well today. This lovely Thursday morning? Thursday. And, yeah. Alrighty, so we're just gonna... I think I'm just gonna hop right into it today. So... for those of you that don't know, we are creating a variant set of stuff for my setting that is going to include some what's the word I'm looking for here? It's going to have some background benefits to it. So background benefits is how I called it in D&D, but a more accurate way of putting it would be origin benefits, or probably most accurately faction benefits. Not all these are going to have a faction that you're associated with necessarily, but actually probably all of them will. But yeah, actually I'm going to change this to... do I do village or town? I'm going to say to a circle. Of your choosing. No. To a location of your choice. And a lot of times those will probably be places that people pick up. Oops. Alrighty. Let's see here. Alright, so the Vonder Druids. Now, in our Vonder, I had this as the Wardens and Order members. I technically had two for this before. Which was a Defender. In both of the cases, to reduce the damage by an amount equal to 2 plus half your level. This feature may be used a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So, these were both here to give a protector, defender, caretaker kind of vibe. Right? Preserving nature, as it were. So, what is a feature, a minor perk, a piece of gear, or a spell? Because if we're a spellcaster, actually let's change this to Magus. because they have access to everything. Or a bonus spell that we can provide that can just do this for us. So let's take to... I don't think there's really a piece of gear that's gonna, between level 1, in level 1 really. That's gonna really give that vibe. That I can think of. Maybe a talisman of some kind of level 1. But I don't really want to give them something like that. Snares, maybe. Just start with a spike snare and a signaling snare. These are both consumable items, though, and you could just get both of these using the unaffiliated. So I don't see a purpose in doing that. Like the last grove, hidden deep within the land of the last grove, a sacred from the old world before civilization, once flourishing haven of natural magic that now is blighted heart. No forces have seeped into Arvander woodland. Outside of its core, blighted influence spreads its erratic root-like tendrils, making its true location elusive and ever dangerous to traverse the forest. Ever dangerous to traverse. There we go. That's a little bit better. So, I'm feeling the spells. So if we go to spell, bonus spell, bonus spells +1, and I put that there. And then we can... And then we can add just any spell book you could... Yeah, so you can still just add it to the thing anyways. But you have to open up the spell to cast it. Okay. That's fine. Oh, what the? Not sure what happened there. Well, in either case. Okay, so we can just add spells from whatever tradition we want as bonus spells, so that's fine. So, in that case, traditions of the old ways. I should actually change this to um uh Chevy Impala Impala 4. Greetings and salutations. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing quite well this morning, aside from my allergies kicking me a little bit. I hope you're doing well also. Speaking of, because right now, flu is kicking my butt. Yeah, I'm one of those people that if I don't take the necessary amount of antihistamines, my entire face just leaks, like just pours out my face. Flu is no joke though. Or is it COVID? Isn't it? Isn't the flu just COVID now? I don't know. The old ways. Old ways. Defending nature. Keeping severe version of the flu, I guess. I mean, symptomatically, it's similar. I don't know. I just thought it was really strange when the number of flu cases went down to 0, and COVID but kind of just matched it, according to Health Canada. I thought that was weird, but that's neither here nor there. I wouldn't wish either upon anyone because both suck. And keeping the ever awesome idea, a D&D character, but I don't know how well it would go over. Well, that always depends upon the table, right? And ever growing borders of civilization. That's not even remotely close. Jeez. No, not Calvinization. That's a lot closer. There we go. What's your idea? My character is something I don't think D&D has ever done before. So here's the thing, is that the way that 5e is designed, assuming it's 5e, because most people play 5e now, or 5.5. The way that it's designed is that it's really open-ended because a lot of the flavor text is, I wouldn't say suppressed, but it's been cut down a fair bit. So really you can just take any like class or ability, reflavor it, and it still just works. Like a really good example of how I did this is I wanted to play a mad scientist alchemist back when 5.0 like first released. And there was no artificer at the time, or alchemist class, and the crafting system was garbage. So I just made a sorcerer because I wanted him to be a mad scientist. I didn't want him to actually be a genius. I wanted him to be crazy. So I played a sorcerer with a wild magic sorcerer, and then just the wild magic table was just sometimes my concoctions just do weird stuff, and then all my spell casting was just me throwing potion bottles at people, or me sniffing a potion of some other kind. That was just gas, and then I could do something because of it. Right? You can reflavor things endlessly to make it fit your needs. Which is an artist. His spells are called color. He can absorb color like green from gems surrounding him, and like grass in his and teammates wild red. Okay, I see. I think you can actually do something like that in 3.5, possibly. There might be something like that in there. If what happens to give them teammates because they know they're part of the cleric, gold, sacrifice potions of money, resurrect party. Yeah, so the way that I would look at that is you just flavor, you would just reflavor stuff into that. Right, describe that you're doing these things passively here and there as time goes by. Like someone comes over to talk to you or something like that. You're like, oh, well, I'm over here just doing this thing. Right, and this is definitely something that you gotta run by the GM first. It's an idea, but you can definitely reflavor something to that. As opposed to just... Because there is no actual in-game mechanics for that. But you can definitely reflavor it that way. There wouldn't be anything that you could do, because those are all just like simple vocabulary replacements for spellcasting, right? For the spells that already exist. So, unfortunately, unless your GM wants to, or you want to go in and start and find a way to make a bunch of mechanics to accommodate this in a different way, generally speaking, you're stuck reflavoring spellcasting in 5th edition. And the main reason for that is because 5th edition is very basic in its creation. Or in its design. It's very simple overall. You get a primal spell. What rank 1 primal spell should I provide here? Foraging friends. Turn 1 hour with a forage for feed 4 medium creatures for that day. Interesting. No, it's just the allergies. Like the antihistamines are helping, but I'm still a little stuffy. Doesn't really matter what I do. Unfortunately. Helpful steps. Call forth a ladder or staircase to help you reach greater heights. Because I don't wish this on anybody. Puking up front. Yeah, I feel that. Ladder or staircase, it appears a space Designated use stands by designated height of the ladder or staircase up to a maximum of 40 feet. His design in the area, conjure ladder is simple in design, made of wood. While both are supported and have no risk of falling, they can be damaged or destroyed as normal. Staircase is typically easier to ascend, though it's less discreet than a ladder and could possibly draw more attention. You can dismiss the spell. You just make a temporary staircase for 10 minutes. That's incredible. Oh. Losing the path. Creature within sight range strides. Whoa, what the? Not sure what happened there. Where were we? Lose the path. You surround a moving creature with lifelike illusions, shifting the perspective of the terrain, so leading them off course. The target must attempt a will save. Regardless of the result, the creature is immune to lose the path for 1 hour. If they succeed, they are unaffected. Failure creature treats all squares as difficult terrain for its stride. Except you determine whether the target moves during the stride, though you can't move into a hazardous terrain or to a place it can't stride. I kind of like that, actually. Keep civilization out. That's definitely a possibility. How do they phrase? Is it primal only? I think. Primal spell and can cast it once per day. Using your spell DC or baseline DC is 13. I guess your spell DC, even if you don't have one, would be baseline. At level 4 would be 14. It's 10 plus your level plus your training. How does spell DCs for non-spellcasters work? Pathfinder 2E. Character acquires spells through archetype and evaluates the formula for DC rules. Here we go. Spellcasting rules. Oh, let me get rid of this. Primal. Let's run them. 4 essences, spell slots, focus spells, non-spellcasters with non-spellcasting with focus spells. If you get a focus spell from your class or source that doesn't grant spell casting ability that grants you a focus spell also provides your proficiency boost, spell fires to your spell DC, as well as magical conditions of your focus spells. Though you can cast focus spells, it doesn't qualify you for feats for spells. Okay. Innate spell casting spells. Ranges, areas, targets, durations, defense, spell attack, identifying spells, counteracting hostile walls, reading spells, rituals. Is there a thing for heightened spells, cantrips? There's nothing in here except for this right here for non-innate spells. Certain spells are natural to your character, consisting of, they're called innate spells. Innate spells don't let you qualify for abilities that require you to be a spellcaster. Those require you to have spell slots. The ability that grants you the innate spells are, I'll tell you how often it is, usually once per day, and it's magical tradition. Innate spells are refreshed during your daily preparation. Innate cantrips are cast at the will automatically. Heightened as a normal cantrip otherwise specified. You become trained in the spell attack modifier and spell DC statistics. At level 12, these proficiency increase to expert unless noted otherwise. Charisma is your spell casting attribute modifier for innate spells. If you have an innate spell, you can cast it even if you do not have a spell rank you can only cast. This is especially common for monsters. You can't use spell slots to cast your innate spells, but you might have an innate spell and also be able to prepare or cast the same spell through your class. You also can't heighten the spell, but some abilities that grant the innate spell might give you the spell at higher rank than its base rank or change at which rank you can cast the spell. Okay, so the long and short of it is that you get... Okay, so the long and short of it is using your spell DC. Okay, so we don't even need to have all this because that's just inherent. Oh. Ooh. Excuse me. Spell lose the path as a innate primal spell and cast it once per day. There we go. I actually kind of really like the lose the path spell. It's a nice spell to have. Minimize this. Is there a better one in here? Because these don't heighten, so I think it's fine to give these. They're powerful at level 1 and then kind of slowly fall off as the game progresses. Restyle. You permanently change the appearance of one piece of clothing currently worn by you or an ally to better fit your aesthetic sensibility. You can change its color, texture, pattern, and other minor parts of its design. The changes can't alter the clothing's overall shape, size, or purpose. The change can't increase the quality of the craftsmanship or the artistry of the piece of clothing. But particularly gaudy choices for the new color pattern might decrease its aesthetic appeal. The spell transforms existing material into the desired appearance and never alters the material or creature, or creates more material than was originally part of the object. Statistics also remain unchanged. I mean, I assumed that, but yeah, that's pretty awesome. Gems, signal, skyrocket, spider stings, summon fey, summon plant or fungus, swamp call, tether, wind fists. Yeah, I think we're just gonna stick to the to that. With Wander Druids. All right. And then that is our Wander taken care of. All right. Next would be Cragguard. I should actually just do that. There we go. All right. So, oh geez, what the heck is going on here? We had a spike for some reason. What the heck? Not sure what happened, but whatever. All right, for Cragguard. We have the Worm Knights, the Dwarven Clans, and the Royal Guard. All right, we have the Worm Knights. Oh, I did this backwards. The Royal Guard and the Dwarven Clans. Right? Yeah. I guess there would also be the Archives. Cragguard Archives would be another one. All right. gonna make these, oops, a bit more noticeable. All right, we're gonna add an extra space there, signify it being a new section a little better. All right. The dwarves. Let's look here. Last Kingdom of the Dwarves. 2 ages ago, a desperate bid for survival unit and alliance with the native dragons. Together, they waged a fierce campaign against the metallic and chromatic dragons of Draconia, an alliance that has been kept to this day. The Iron Citadel, the Dragon's Roost as locations. But we don't really have much in regards to other things beyond that. So let's just get into the actual mess of things here. In the dwarves. Last thing of the dwarves. They dig and build. They dig for wealth and build for pride. And build for pride. Last 2 ages. They've held a great alliance. The native dragons. To maintain peace. On their island of the archipelago. All right. Alrighty, let's see here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. probably help if I turn my microphone back on. All right, let's see here. So, let's start with what we have. So we have, for 5th edition stuff, we have the Worm Knight Aspirant, the Lore Master, the Deep Delver, the Rune Binder, Stalwart Watcher, the Carouser. So we have the Royal Guard, Worm Knights, and I actually don't think the Royal Guard is an appropriate faction to be a part of if you're going to go adventuring. The Archives, maybe. Probably not the Royal Guard. What's the Iron Citadel again? Grand Fortress. Yeah. I don't think you would have worked under the Royal Guard if you went for beyond that. I think I'm going to axe that one. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Alrighty, so let's see here. We're gonna axe the Royal Guard from the list. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Alright, so the Worm Knight. So let's go back over here. So we have the Stalwart Watchers, I believe. Which that can be put into the clans. The Rune Binder can be put into the archives. Carouser is just a background. Deep Delver can be associated with the clans. Lore Master is just the archives. And then Worm Knight Aspirant is the Worm Knights. Okay. So how did I phrase these before, just to make sure? So just like your connection to this thing and kind of like the way that it is, like the culture, the basics of the culture. So the Worm Knights, I don't think I have anything actually written down for the Worm Knights there. So you've trained under the shadow of a mighty dragon, the mighty dragons allied with your people, mastering the technique and brute strength and draconic finesse. All right. So, what is something that we can give them? And probably definitely something more martial related. Let's see here. Is there a dragon trait? There isn't. No dragon trait. Okay. Now, I gave them the fearsome roar that provided a frightened effect, but I don't want to do that too much. Mostly because that would be kind of good. Like, kind of insanely good. Could don't take the idea of the stalwart watcher, which is the comfortable rest thing again. So I don't really dislike it. But I'm not huge on it either. Hey, Hoy, how's it going? It's been a hot minute. What am I making? Excuse me, converting the background benefits that I have for my 5th edition stuff. I'm making, how do I say this? Regionally appropriate benefits for Pathfinder that are easy to implement. Hello, Crash King. So I'm trying to think of things that are relatively small and easy, as well as compatible specifically with the Path Builder free version. So we're kind of limited in what we're actually able to utilize, and I'm trying to keep it relatively lightweight overall so that it's easy for anyone and everyone to pick up. So instead of it being background oriented, which is something that, or origin oriented, which is kind of what I've been doing with D&D, I decided that it's probably best if I make it more about who you associate with. So I'm making it faction based because I think it's a little bit easier to do that, and then just have an unaffiliated one at the bottom. I believe they typically go by the name Village Bicycle. Let's see here. So right now, for the aspirant, or for the Worm Knight aspirant, because that's what it's inevitably going to be. I keep forgetting I have to minimize this in order for you guys to be able to see my Path Builder browser. I just realized that because I have a black T-shirt on, I'm kind of like fading into the bottom of this screen when I don't have the Obsidian open. That's kind of amusing. Well, look, because work related date. All right, cheers, I appreciate it. So this is just my, like, Dragoon nonsense. So maybe, oh, is there a lance? I guess it would just be under pole arms then. Rancour. The trident with a central prong that's longer than 2. No. Nagatara. No. Horse chopper. This is essentially a long stick and a large blade hook. No. A Gussaram. Gussaram. Polearm bears a long, often one-side curved blade with a hook protruding from the blunt side of the blade, which allows the wielder to trip opponents at a distance. The shaft is usually 8 feet long. That is essentially the Dragoon weapon. A fighting oar, excuse me. The sturdy boat oar, typically made of wood, whose heft and blades are reinforced to use in combat. Fight oar as item post from weapon proficiency rules, if any, as an item bonus on piloting lore or sailing lore checks made for the piloting road vehicle. That's amazing. Boarding pike. This would probably be something for the what's it called? The what's it called for if in Dran? Oh, I just realized that. There we go. Wait, why is it only level 0? Can I not add? Oh, because those are okay. I understand. Where is it the good Saram is probably the closest reach and trip with D10 slashing. Which is not capturing spear or septum. It's an advanced weapon. Okay. Opponent stand for aggressive military units and invading bases for hunting fugitives. Hampering. After you hit them with a weapon, you can interact. You can use an interact action to give a -10 compensate circumstance penalty to all speeds. The penalty ends after the target takes a move action at the start of your turn if you attack with the weapon, or if you move out of reach of the target, whichever comes first. Reach trip. Boarding pike is a back to cabin. But it is a spiked polearm that uses a hammerhead to help balance the spike. The hammer portion can be used as a secondary striking service, while the spike or flute is specifically designed to punch through armor and shields. I mean, that sounds very dragonesque. Dragoonesque is a particularly good at damaging objects, structures, and vehicles. Reach, shove, versatile bludgeoning. This is a good weapon. The problem is that this is just a common. It is an advanced, or no, it's just a martial weapon. I mean, this could make it so that it's a weapon that you could use as a simple character. Ooh. This means that a rogue could potentially use it. A rogue with this weapon? That'd be interesting. That's a cool avenue, actually. I kind of like that. Basically, anything that if it moves it down one step from advanced down to martial and martial down to simple. So if we made this a simple weapon, then that means that characters that rely on simple weaponry, like martial-oriented characters that rely on simple weaponry, can use it then. Which would be rogues and I don't know what else, but there'd be a couple. There's probably a couple. That's true. I can't actually make it so that you have access to common stuff unless I move it down a step. so that like non-martial oriented characters, like non-martial oriented trained characters can use it. But I also want to try and stick to the uncommon stuff, so maybe I don't use a pike. Just go to uncommon all groups. Let's just work our way down. Weapons that you would use as a dragon knight. Or a worm knight. I mean, maybe it's a crossbow. Repeating heavy crossbow. Paw launcher. Modular. Designed by Corsair warriors, the complex devices crossbow that fires small wooden bullets known as taws. A system of blades within the rapidly reshape a taw to its as it's loaded, allowing the launcher to fire a taw of different shapes, such as flechettes. Has 3 different damage types. Deadly D10. Let's just do all rarities. Backpack ballista. Lancer. Capacity 2. Yeah. I don't think any of these really fit. Bombs, bows, brawling, clubs, darts, firearms. We could do firearms for dwarves. Long fire. Fatal D12. It's on a critical hit, the weapon's damage increases to that size instead of the normal die size. The weapon adds 1 die on the listed size. Okay. So fatal dice are pretty rough as well. Cost of... No. Gun. Do I make them the gun sword nutcases? Do I make dwarves the gun swords? No, I think if we're gonna do gun blades, I think it's gonna be Dran. Yeah, we're gonna go gunblade for the skies, I think. I'm still kind of sitting in that polearm thing. Like, if you're riding a dragon, like either a polearm or a bow or something. What about regular bows? What do we have? A Dikeu? Daikyu? I think is how you say it. It's asymmetrical bow made of bamboo, wood, and leather. Stands 6 feet. Word height is more. It's often used while mounted. There we go. Forceful, proportionally. You add half your strength modifier if proportionate to your damage roll. Ranged weapon. you have negative strength, you add the full strength modifier instead. Yep, that's it. That's it right now. Right there. All right. Where's the one for the... weapons that have the elf... has the elf trait. Advanced weapons are martial. Martial and martial weapons. Simple. Are simple for you. Alrighty. Let's get this. Here's one very specific weapon. Is there a class that has specific weapons that advance as opposed to all? If it was anything, I think it would be the monk or the rogue. Let's see here. Simple weapons and unarmed strikes. For the monk. Powerful blows, ancestry feats. I guess you would have access to any weapon that also has your class name in it. Oh, the rogue is also trained in martial weapons? I did not know that. Huh. This is an strikes in which you are expert. Interesting. Okay. I did not know that. Okay, so that's... There are significantly less, like... How do I say this? When it comes to, like, weapons, things are super broad, are extraordinarily broad stroke and open-ended for classes. So... do I just... You know what? No. The Daiku. For you. Mr. Lord? I don't know if I like that one. Hey there, Nana. How's it going? Alright, the Daiku is a simple weapon for you. Oh, actually, there's something else I need to make sure I did real quick here. It is on loop. Okay, good. I thought so, but wasn't sure. Did pretty well on my oral exam. Awesome. With the Worm Knights. How the teacher complimented me on my answers. Nice. That's always good. Alrighty, the Cragguard Archives. So this is Lore Master and Stalwart Watcher? No, Runebinder. Master of ruins and etchings have landed you insights that form us to make their own creations. Such as a recorded history, ancient ruins where you are steeped in lore of your people. And then I'm also going to grab the Runebinder stuff. Okay. Centuries of recorded history and ancient ruins are the lifeblood of Kragard's culture. You are steeped in the lore of your people. It's literally the shit we were talking about the other day. That's awesome. Lore of your people and your mastery over craftsmen says to formulate other craftsmen use to make their own creations. You have a good shot of passing? Oh, you're probably fine. All right. So let's have a little looky look here. No, I don't need this. I need this. Why is it struggling so much? My limiters should be on. They are. No, whatever. That's weird. Now literature is next, which my nerdy ass brain should be fine. Yes. Yes, your literature brain should be fine. Let's see here. Filters. Traits. Names. Is there a level 1? Let's see here. I have 5 days to study too. Yeah, I think you're fine. Probably a waterproof journal. That'd be a good thing. Oh, that reminds me. I need to go back to this. That doesn't need to be that, because that's assumed. No point in having that if you can't do that. Alrighty. 3 days for a power, which is like 7-ish minutes of talking. That's not bad. It's relatively short. This journal is commonly used by adventuring scholars to ship navigators for recording their journals. Yeah, we could do with waterproof journal. For okay. A waterproof journal. With a few notes from the art. With a few notes you have taken. From the archives in it. Okay, guard archives. There we go. Nice and simple. My mentor professor gave me some advice on PowerPoints, especially for social anxiety. When practicing at home, take the time you need to speak through all your points, and then half of it. Yeah, that's a really good way of approaching. Like, the point of your PowerPoint is, yeah, double it. Oh, right, double it makes sense. Yeah, because the whole point of the PowerPoint is for you to have your key points, and then you elaborate. That's how long you'll take. Oh, as in how long it will take. Yeah. Biggest thing with speaking, I've been doing a lot of what's it called? I've been listening to Vin a lot lately, and he's a coach for speakers, for professional speaking, professional storytelling, things like that. One of the things that he advises you to do a lot is get rid of filler words. So the ums, the ahs, the oohs, the so's, the likes, and all that. Just replace it with a pause instead. There's a lot of things that he tells that's really, really good. Now, obviously, it's mostly related to English speaking, but I imagine that most of the rules still apply cross languages. All right. Dwarven clans. So there is Stalwart Watcher and Deep Delvers. The diversity. Made stuff for the most is the smartest. Well, the reason for that is because you have to push the smartest people. You have to push them more than people that are struggling, because they're already struggling. People that are doing well, you need to not bully them, but you need to smart asses. I mean, I'd punish them, yeah. I'd bully them a little bit. It's like, you want to play games? All right. Let's play games. The diversity of the clans. The clans are diverse. They're also smart too in general. From the sound of things, most people that are getting educated in Slovenia are probably pretty smart. Like, we had this conversation the other day. Like, the education of Slovenia is actually quite good. The clans are diverse and have influences every facet of the kingdom. It's just a question of your clan. I'm going to get rid of this. That's implied across the board. Almost every facet of the kingdom. It's just a question of what does your clan deal with. One of our language experts did research into the whale speech patterns. Interesting. Does it go into like the conversation of like basically the idea of melody, right? Because the language patterns of whales actually has a song to it, so it has this melodic sense to it, which, by the way, you should try to do. Funny enough, their structure is similar to the Slovenian. That's hilarious. I will be right back. I need to get the charger from my phone. Alrighty, I have returned. discovered this when one of my friends sent me a website said Wales speak Slovenian. I'm like, what the fuck? That's amazing. Alrighty. So, we need to make this a little bit open-ended. This needs to be more of a... Well, we'll start with this. +5 reputation. Your clan. Whatever clan that might be. Now we need to look at something else. Minimize this. So, what is something that we can do here? I don't want to do a spell, because that feels incorrect. About chainmail proficiency. So the thing is that armor proficiencies are already tied to. So for Pathfinder, giving proficiency in armor is weird because you don't have proficiency with armor individually or weapons individually. You have proficiency with the classification specifically, and because the way that the classes work, they're very heavily tied in different ways like that. And in order to expand it, it requires a feat. It's a general feat, so it's not the most powerful of feats, but it requires a feat. And I'm trying not to step on the toes of the combat mechanics too much. Giving players natural heat resistance during. Well, it's not dwarves. It's people that live in the dwarven kingdom. So, and same thing with dwarves with resistance is that for example, if we go to dwarf, we can go to dwarf and we can go to their heritage, and they have a bunch of stuff that like you can literally go to forge dwarf, and you get resistance for fire damage, as well as environmental heat. So they've already thought of stuff like this. So this is why I'm kind of limiting myself to like weapons, spells, armor, or not armor, but like specific pieces of gear. Armor is a lot less diverse. The same thing with the poison. Like if they want like there's the forged draft, there's the death warden, ancient blooded, alcohol lore. Yeah. Like I'm avoiding anything that requires me to alter the sheet in ways that the free version doesn't allow me. That's one of the limitations that I'm putting on myself. So that means that I can't just add lores by breaking. I can't just break the whole thing to create an additional feat that just lets you add lores, for example, or skill proficiencies. I can have stuff that adds temporary or circumstantial or status-oriented bonuses because we can just go to the details and you can put something in the notes. They simply learned how to fix stuff as needed. So specifically in this case, it's the clans. So this would be like so this would be a lot more the regular folk. Regional lore on the specific kingdom. Yeah, maybe. I feel like that would be the archives more, but I might have the archives journal just do that. Usually providing a lore is fine. Because lores are usually quite specific in nature. And runs the clan switch. So here's the thing: is a lot of that is here's the trick. Here's the trick with this: is that most of that stuff is implied, right? So anything that's kind of just generally implied is granted. Is sort of the other thing. Besides normal dwarf things, what's the region known for? Well, it's the dwarven clans. The thing about this one is like the clans are not just in the kingdom; they also expand outward. So they're the people. It's just the entire people. So the clans is kind of like like my catch-all for everything else in a weird way. So this would be law enforcement. This would be bartenders. This is literally the people. You would just be a predominant member of one. So I'm trying to think more inside of like the realms of like if we were to do spells, it would have divine. It would definitely be divine based. And if it was, and it'd be an innate spell, and it would be a rank 1 spell. Thoughtful gift, maybe. Crafting bonus based on clan. I'm trying to avoid affecting skills as much as I can, or extra damage, right? Like I'm trying to avoid like circumstance-oriented modifiers. I'm trying to have like a thing that you just get. So like a good example of what I'm going for is, so here's the kind of like the balance I'm going for is you get two like the unaffiliated, right? Like you're not affiliated with a faction of any kind. Is you get 2 common level 1 consumable items that are of 3 GP or less. So I'm trying to go like relatively low power overall. And I'm trying to avoid like if the most powerful form of access that I'm probably providing full stop is either Thanatos Imperium, where I'm allowing the elf trait weapons to be advanced to martial and martial to simple, or the other one that might be really, really powerful is actually the Craigguard Archive, the Worm Knights, which you just get an advanced weapon treated as a simple weapon for you. Like a very specific singular weapon. And that weapon, by the way, the Daiku. Where is it? Let's see here. Is literally just, it's just a bow. It's a D8 bow. That has forceful and propulsive. Right, so like the only thing that makes this different. Here, let's actually do this. The bows. So the Daiku is actually the only difference between the Daiku and the longbow is that it's actually got a shorter range. And it doesn't have a deadly die. And it has volley 30, which means, it's bad at close range. But the benefit of the Daiku is that it doesn't have volley 30. And instead of having a deadly die, it has forceful and propulsive instead. So it gets to add half strength modifier to damage. And it has forceful, so the secondary attack is going to do more. So it has a much stronger flat damage base. So the difference here is really small. This makes it a more consistently good damage output weapon as opposed to the longbow, which is relying on rolling crits. That is probably the biggest benefit that is in there. That I have period in the game, in my backgrounds. And all that is just adding half your strength. So if you are a full strength, a 4/3, a 4 strength 3 dex character, then the biggest benefit you're getting here is +2 damage on your ranged attack rolls on your first attack, and then a 3rd damage point on your second. So this is relatively small in terms of actual output alteration. So I'm trying to keep it that kind of small. Is there something for gear? For traits. Field guide. Illustrations and information on edible and dangerous plants. Membership cord. Members of a secret society? No. Adventure is probably the best. Miscellaneous. Waffle iron. That's amazing. If you want to move into low places, I don't understand what you're trying to get at with that one. Throwing shield. Theater enhancers. Hollow hilts, no. Adventuring. Let's just start at the bottom of ones. Maybe we'll find something in here. We already did the waterproof journal. Sibling coin. No, that's a member of a secret society. Dragon's crest. Interesting. That might be useful for the whatever it's called, for the dragon's space. Clockwork metaphor, clockwork borg. Burnish plating. Blade launcher, waterproof, war saddle, trader's ring. Scootish bandolier. Drawers are smaller than the most species, though they need space onwards, so the ceiling is low. The caretakers move off and move. Ah, fair. Reinforced surcoat, membership cords, night standard. This cloth flag or banner, no larger than a few feet long, bears a symbol of a Haldrio deity kingdom, nice house or similar organization. A typical standard comes from this that you can hold aloft instead. Hold it aloft. You can instead spend 2 consecutive interactive actions to mount a knight standard on 2-handed polearms or a spear weapon. It's a visible sign as long as you wield the weapon with 2 hands. Some individuals are inspired by the sight of standards or demoralized by the destruction of one. false bottomless mug. The bottom of it unscrew reveals a velvet-lined chamber. You see the false bottom if someone specifically examines the mug. I don't know about that one. Consumables, maybe. Get rid of this. Healing potion. All consumables. Help more if I was on my computer. That's fine. I'm just scrolling through stuff, like seeing what I can find here. If I do consumables, I'm gonna have to do 2. Maybe I just give them an Everlight crystal. No, that's not really something they need. Predictable silver piece, no. Grudge, your character learns how to hold a grudge. Information about the grudge targets get advantage. That's something that you have with reputation oriented stuff already. Worn items. Candle cap. What is this? Worn headwear. Oh, it's very cute. Memory map. Tattooed on the body. No. Just eating dumb ideas at the streamer. Yeah, I mean, it helps, believe it or not. It does help, because sometimes it sends me in a direction that I wasn't thinking of. Let's actually add a bonus level rank cantrip, so that we can look at the cantrips too. It'd be a divine cantrip, if anything. Majestic beard. Your character grows forced to grow a beard as an initiation ritual. That can be something that someone decides to add as a part of the clan that they create. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Ain't there a clan dagger? Traits. Dwarf. Yeah, clan dagger. Clan pistol, yeah. What the heck? Oh, my escape key got damaged. Somehow. Oops. Yeah. And then we have 5 options here, which is the Dwarf War Axe, Scatter Gun. You know what? Let's just... You gain a burrow speed. Yeah, definitely not giving people a burrow speed. I don't know why I didn't just do this. It's literally the same thing as this. Oh, nope. I want to get rid of this. I don't know why I didn't just do this. This is dumb. Like, I don't know. Not even 5 feet? Not even 5 feet. I'll give you a crawl speed of 5 feet, though. Oh. blunt weapon proficiencies. Yeah, I'm just gonna go dwarf trait. If it's a dwarf trait, you just treat it as 1 step lower. Because I believe because all a dwarf, like clan dagger is a simple weapon, clan pistol is a martial weapon. Dwarven Dorn dagger is an advanced weapon, so this would be good for the martial characters. Clan pistol might be useful for the non-martial characters. Scattergun is also useful for dwarven purposes. Dwarven war axe, which is 2-handed d12 and sweeping. That's pretty sweet. The long hammer, the wrecker. Wait. This is the wrecker ranged? Hello? Is a sling? What is this? The wrecker combines a dwarven Dorn dagger, Dorn dirge, with a heavy gear reinforced arm cover that allows it to fire like an oversized sling, then retrieved and reload by manually activating a clockwork spool. The wrecker must be loaded to be switched from ranged configuration to its melee configuration. Ranged trip, raising, which means it's good at damaging objects, and it's a combination weapon, so you can use as, and then you can convert it to the melee weapon, at which point it's a flail with reach and raising. That is what's the range on this? 20 feet. That is actually hilarious. I love this weapon. That's incredible. I love that. Oh, you couldn't even see it because it's not showing up on the screen because of the way that my layers work. That's annoying. Yeah, we'll just make it all the weapon standards be lowered by 1 step if it has the dwarf trait for you. Again, the unarmed expert, but only when throwing rocks at people. No, that's peasantry, not clan members. That's amazing. All right. Well, so we got through Craigard today. I'm actually kind of happy about that with that. And then we have, so next on the list is Maledictra. And then Maledictra, we have, for factions, we have the Dustcloaks and the Caravanners. Caravanners. There isn't really anything else in here, I don't think. Like the Dustcloaks, if my memory serves, are mostly hunters. Yeah, those are hunters. Caravanners are the ones that run about. We could actually add a faction that's in like inside of the city. We don't have a government organization really here. So we can add another one to that. But it is 10 to 7, so I must away. I have to go to work today. Oh, I'm not looking forward to it. It's supposed to be freaking hot. So hopefully I don't die. So that'll be good. But yeah, thank you everybody for swinging by that did. Hopefully you had a decent enough time. I may be back tomorrow. I am uncertain. We will see. Depends on a couple things. And if I am, I'm not sure. I may do this or I might play a little more Breath of Fire. Uncertain, as before. So, until next time, guys, appreciate you all for being here. Hope you had an alright time. And, yeah, until next time, have a good day.